So, if you follow me on my Instagram, you probably know this whole story, but if you don't, I'm about to fill you in. The other day, I got an email that one of my videos, the most boring video ever, literally called Make America Boring Again, was inappropriate for children. It was flagged. That means that if you're not logged into YouTube, you can't see the video. And if you are logged in but you're under 18, then that video will not be shown to you. I don't know what I did. Honestly, I don't. That has to be the most unoffensive video on this whole platform. How are we at a point where YouTube is just randomly flagging videos that don't harm anybody? 5 or 10 years ago, YouTube used to be a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. You turn it on and they would show you some conspiracy theory about how aliens built the pyramids, and then it would just keep playing more videos like that for you until you were convinced that aliens built the pyramids and could debate anybody on the topic. Well, not really. If anybody asked you some serious questions about your hypothesis about the aliens, you wouldn't be able to answer them. But you felt like you could. You really felt like you could. Basically, what they had been doing is just playing videos that were similar to the video that you had just watched. And they kept playing these videos, and they kept playing these videos, and they kept playing these videos until you were so far down a rabbit hole. Your GPA didn't matter. Screw the GPA. It doesn't matter. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I am this close to finding out what really went on. YouTube didn't understand the consequences of what they were doing. They just wanted to keep your eyes on the app. And in doing so, they spread all this false information, all of this pseudoscience about flat earth and anti-vax and all kinds of things. Now, laughing at your favorite basketball player trying to disprove a round earth, trying to convince us all of a flat earth, it's funny. We were all having a good time. If you want to hear more about the flat earth rabbit hole that a lot of people fell down, I would definitely recommend the last podcast on the left. They did a great job of summing it all up. Anyway, we were all having a good time. And then some people took it too far. Alex Jones, for example, and his ilk, they took it a little too far. We remember Sandy Hook, unfortunately. One of the saddest news events in modern history. People started to say that it was a false flag operation. A false flag operation. Where are all the people? Where are all the children? Obviously, this theory did not hold any water. But YouTube and other social media had created such a platform that these ideas could spread. And that's when it really became obvious that in Pizzagate, that's when it really became obvious that this stuff was dangerous. So they clamped down. YouTube started a campaign to correct their mistakes. And of course, they took it too far. The pendulum was over here and it swung all the way to over here. Overcorrection. This is common. This happens all the time. When you want to avoid one scenario, so you fix it. And by fixing it, you make an entirely different problem. And this is where we are right now. Ultimately, this happened because they rely on an algorithm. And like I said before, that algorithm is too dumb to contribute to the national dialogue. Everyone's saying that AI is going to replace us. AI this, AI that. AI is dumb. AI doesn't understand nuance. Basically, and I know you've heard this before, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So YouTube, in its infinite wisdom, is now clamping down on everything. There are words, certain words you can't say here because YouTube will take that as you putting forth a conspiracy theory.
Above all else, YouTube's priority is providing information in a responsible way. You see that in how we're directing viewers looking for the latest on coronavirus using our homepage. That's also why we're rolling out monetization for coronavirus videos as a gradual process, starting with creators who accurately self-certify their videos and a select number of news partners. We plan to continue to roll it out to all creators in the YouTube Partner Program over the coming weeks.
We can't mention this massive virus that has us all in our houses and has for a year. You can't even say it. You can't say the word. Or the algorithm which doesn't know whether or not you're criticizing measures taken or supporting measures taken, will just shut you down. So we can't talk about it. We can't talk about the fact that we've been in our houses for a year or more and that everybody is wearing masks. We can't even say it. Don't even say it. But this is reality. Do we not see that this is reality? You can go outside and say, wow, my reality has changed considerably from a year ago. When you go on YouTube, no mention of it. No mention of it unless it's approved by the higher ups. So a normal person can't just go out there and say what they have to say. It's absurd. Completely absurd. The algorithm and also the people who work at YouTube are not in a position to decide our national dialogue. That's what it comes down to. These aren't philosophers. These aren't the learned men. These are just people who work at YouTube. There's nothing wrong with them. They're programmers. They're fine. There is no single head, no company, no organization that can, from the top down, decide what the entire country, the entire world should be discussing. We think that about ourselves. I could decide what everybody should be talking about. And the fact is we can't. There's too much information out there now. The world is too complicated. YouTube got themselves into this situation by putting forward all of these videos that weren't supported by facts. They should never have been recommending these videos in the first place. And once they figured out where they had gone wrong, why not just throw a well-researched video into the mix? I don't really understand why they didn't do that. All they really had to do is throw a real documentary in there. Throw some Frontline in there. Frontline is constantly making amazingly well-researched documentaries. Just throw it in there. Why not? That'll snap you out of a rabbit hole. Now, the video of mine that YouTube had clamped down on was the Make America Boring Again video. It was a pretty boring video. Now, the video itself was good, but the premise of the video is that we have to be more content with less stimulation. Pizzagate all over again, I know. No, it's not. It's me talking to camera, fully clothed, and citing articles and books and so forth. What is so offensive about that? Well, I mentioned that 9/11 happened. But wait a minute, why was there the war on terror? Why are we in Iraq right now? Why are we in Afghanistan right now? Children will ask these questions. I do not understand the reasoning behind this at all. It's too harmful for teenagers? Give me a break. Anyway, they said they manually reviewed the video and that's why it got flagged. Nonsense. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. When I appealed and I explained how asinine they were being, they apologized and they took the age restriction down, but that video is still demonetized. Luckily, I don't depend on YouTube for making a living. But if I were a creator that depended on YouTube to make rent, I would be completely discouraged. And then what videos would I make? Videos about makeup, videos about hair, videos about clothes, just non-offensive videos. Can't possibly offend anyone ever. Many creators actually need this app to make rent. And I understand them, and I'm not judging anybody who wants to make a successful YouTube channel. I'm not. How could I? The economy the way it is, girl, make your money. Do what you gotta do to make your money. The problem with that is that it dumbs down the national dialogue. It dumbs it down to the point where we're little better than the algorithm. Algorithm is dumb, y'all. Algorithm is too dumb. AI is not taking over anytime soon. I'm sorry. Also, if there is no reason for the video to be demonetized, why is the video demonetized? Does this make any sense to you? It's like when the feds charge a person with like 10 things and one of them is conspiracy. If you are acquitted of 9 things, how can you be guilty of conspiracy? Conspiracy to do what? Someone's gonna have to explain this. Anyway, I'm not mad about it. I'm just letting you know that some of my videos offend people. They offend the holy algorithm. Oh no, not the algorithm. Now you might say a hater could have reported the video. And that is true. A hater could be hating on me. I don't know why. I don't see that many haters in the comment section, but there could have been a hater that was specifically hating on me. If that is the case, YouTube still lied about having manually reviewed my video. Obviously, they didn't manually review the video because there's nothing offensive in that video. Now, I also know that YouTube keeps comments from me. And some of these comments are actually really helpful. They would be really helpful. When I make videos, I ask my subscribers to help me out. And they do. And that's what I want. I go through them and I read them. And I thought that I had been up to date on all of my comments. But then I went into my actual email, the email that I use for my YouTube, and it said that I had a comment on there And then I go to my YouTube and it's nowhere. It's not even in the spam folder. It's nowhere. That comment is nowhere. I'm going to read you the comment because there's nothing wrong with this comment. Okay, this was on The Good Lord Bird review. This happens a lot, but this comment I actually got this morning, and that's why I'm upset about it. The person said, I am so tired of this stuff. The Good Lord Bird is about John Brown. It's about pre-Civil War stuff. I am so tired of this stuff. Why keep making these slave shows and movies? It's part of the problem that we keep showing it, that new generations continue to see Black people in subservient roles. Good point. Why does a Black boy have to run around in a dress? It's demeaning to him. They would never depict a white boy in the same way on TV ever. Black people constantly being shown as less than, as slaves. Powerless, perpetuates the same old negative narrative. So it's never going away. Trash. Can't tell new stories, ? Always devolve back into slavery, and it's really just a way to showcase the white savior trope. Good point. To make white folks look good. So tired of it. Black people should not support this. Black people should refuse those demeaning roles. A hot shame. Age of Aries said this. That's a valid point. I don't necessarily agree with it because I feel that we need to look into Bleeding Kansas now to see where we are as a society. So I think we can learn from history. We don't need to glorify it either. And I think that's what he's saying. We continue to glorify this long gone age. He didn't curse, or she. I don't want to misgender this person. I don't want to misgender Age of Aries. They. I'll just say they. They didn't curse. They didn't insult me. They didn't insult any of the viewers. All they said was that we need to move past these slavery shows. Perfect grammar. Nothing wrong with this. And then I go to reply, and I can't even reply because this comment does not exist on YouTube anymore. This comment is only in my inbox. Now, once YouTube becomes aware that it's in my inbox, they're probably going to shut that down too. And I won't get any of the comments. But they do this a lot. I didn't used to go through my inbox for this email because I don't really check this email that much. It's just for my YouTube. But every once in a while, I'll see a comment and I'll say, wait a minute. I didn't see that in my YouTube studio. I don't know, maybe this particular person is going through and spamming a bunch of other accounts, but I doubt it. I doubt that they are. I think this person might be a college professor, a college student, a working professional who has something to add to the discussion. And if I hadn't been going through my email this morning, I never would have gotten it. I understand. When I first started the channel, I was getting spammed by some person who promised to cast the best love spells for you. Followers, I love all of you. Please do not source your love spells from my comment section or any YouTube comment section. If you are going to partake in magic, go to your local magician. No, not magician. David Blaine is a magician. Go to your local magic person. Help your own community. You don't need to go and look outside the community for your magic. So I understand why YouTube was clamping those down. But what Age of Aries said is perfectly reasonable. I'm only saying this to say that censorship is prevalent on YouTube. It's very common on YouTube, even on a channel as unoffensive as this. I talk about history and the arts and society. I mean, I tell the truth about these things. Now, like I said before, like I've said in previous videos, I completely understand what happened with Alex Jones. He was getting problematic. He was calling people to riot at the Capitol. Good thing that didn't work out, huh? But they're taking it too far. They are allowed to remove things that they consider offensive or otherwise objectionable. This is assuming that they are acting in good faith. And I don't know if they are right now. You really thought that Make America Boring Again was inappropriate for children? But WAP isn't? WAP is cool, y'all. I don't have a problem with WAP. Go make your money. If a person honestly thinks that WAP is appropriate for children, then they're either ignorant or they're being purposely obtuse. That's an adult video. The clean version, that's still an adult video, and that's cool for adults. Doesn't make any sense. They're not thinking. Anyway, we really have to ask ourselves, is YouTube acting in good faith at this point? White liberals acting in good faith, y'all. White liberals acting in good faith. They're trying to help. They're always trying to help. Oh my God, they always just want to help. Oh my God. The people who work at YouTube, the people who work at Google may be smarter when it comes to programming, but the world was here long before there was computer programming. Maybe you're not as smart as you think you are. Just maybe. Just maybe. Think about this. Think about society as a system. That system can regulate itself. That system can fix itself. We used to do a skit called Keenan's Conspiracy Theories. Some of you may follow the Tony Baker page. Some of you may not. Anyway, the point of the Keenan's Conspiracy Theories was this. Keenan Baker, who is a comedian, was playing this act. And we would have him living in a tent outside the 7-Eleven. And Tony Baker would be going to the 7-Eleven, just getting something, and Keenan would pull him into his tent, and he would tell him all about this latest conspiracy theory. And Tony would question it.
Now, come on, man. I've been doing some research on YouTube, all right? Listen to me on this one, man, all right?
Why is YouTube your main source?
Because
Sometimes Keenan could answer the questions, sometimes he couldn't answer any of the questions. And if he couldn't answer the questions, Tony would just be like, man, get out of here. And he would leave his tent. It was satire. It was making fun of this whole conspiracy mindset that was all over YouTube. But the algorithm can't distinguish. Now that I think about it, I feel that we had gotten the Tony Baker channel in a little bit of trouble by even trying to do something like that. Even though it was a great skit and it was really funny, my favorite one was actually Keenan trying to argue that the moon wasn't real. So we went into it like, is the moon real? And it was really funny because you'll see these videos on YouTube. Is the moon real? Yeah, the moon is real. When you look up in the sky, you see something. Bottom line. So we have stopped doing those. We might bring it back on Keenan's channel soon, but the way YouTube is acting right now, it's like, well, what's the point? They're just going to push this down and no one's ever going to see it. And another one we did, I've actually been producing YouTube videos for a while. Even though I've just started going on camera, I've been producing YouTube videos for a while. We work with this comedian called DC Irving, and we created this character called Direct Currents. And Direct Currents is a new age guru. He's obviously on YouTube trying to get a cult going. He doesn't understand any of the concepts. He doesn't understand any of these spiritual concepts. And he's just using spirit to get himself paid and get himself laid. I thought it was hilarious because I'm so into that new age stuff. We had hoped that people would run into Direct Currents when they're on their new age YouTube rabbit hole. And they would come out of it and say, oh, I've been goofy, huh? I've been acting a little goofy. And then they would go out and they'd go into their community and they would have a laugh about it, and then that would be it. As a system, YouTube doesn't believe in the ability of its users to self-correct. Direct Currents didn't really take off. We want to get back to it just because it's a lot of fun and this is what we do anyway. Also, I don't know if a lot of people really understood that it was a joke. Because we did this Tiger's Eye crystal review, and
A lot of people might think, oh, you're playing with rocks. No, I'm not playing with rocks. You're a dumbass person if you feel I'm just playing with normal rocks. It's good to keep the tiger's eye crystal taped to your belly because it's in direct contact with your sacral chakra. So if you're a big-ass person, heavy set, you can probably roll it under one of your rolls.
there's some people who are like, oh, this is hilarious. But there's some people who are just like, that's not what it's used for. It's an aggressive crystal. We're like, oh my, it's fine. Anyway, both Keenan's conspiracy theories and Direct Currents are an attempt for the system to correct itself. Yes, we can do it. We're not that dumb. Please take people off the platform who are causing grieving parents to be harassed and threatened. We all agree on that. We're all okay with that. But leave it at that. Only in the extremes should this be used. It shouldn't be used on a day-to-day. You shouldn't be hiding my comments from me. That's crazy. Now, I say all this to say that it would be hilarious. This would be these bumbling, cringeworthy attempts by YouTube to correct the problem that they made. Can't even write this stuff. That would be hilarious if it wasn't causing more problems, because people are still going to find out about this stuff. People are still going to go online and find out about alternative theories. And when they do, and when they realize that YouTube hasn't allowed it this entire time, they're going to question everything that they've learned. They're going to question every actual source of information, every actual source of knowledge. They won't trust Frontline. They won't trust PBS. They won't trust any news. They will think, I can only get the truth from this message board because they told me a little bit of truth, just a little bit of truth. And now this message board has the whole truth. This happens with cults a lot. And I have seen people get radicalized in this way. They had been so sheltered their entire lives. And then they go online and someone gives them just a little bit of truth, a little bit of truth. And they assume that that side, that message board has the whole truth, and they buy it hook, line, and sinker. I've seen this on the right. I've seen this on the left. And both people ended up being alienated from their families and their communities. Right now, YouTube is the best platform out there, and I've been working on YouTube for a little while now, and I love YouTube, and I would just hate to see it ruined by some overzealous censorship board. I have a YouTube premium account, and that's basically all I watch. It's not under my amuses, it's under my actual name, and you might spot me because I'm there with glasses, so it's sort of like my alter ego. But if I'm watching you, it's premium, so you're getting that money. I'm giving you that money. YouTube algorithm, I know you're listening. Please stop this excessive censorship. If this gets me thrown into YouTube jail, can you please share it with people who you think would appreciate it? That would help me out a lot. Thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of your comments. And if I don't get back to them, maybe I didn't see them. Honestly, I can't check this email constantly. I have another email and it's a whole thing. Subscribe.